Welcome to the Worldwise Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and this podcast is your guide to building a truly borderless life. From entrepreneurship, investment migration, tax optimization, and everything in between, this show highlights the nuances of a global citizen lifestyle. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the show. In today's episode, I sit down with Lorene. Now, Lorene has been on this show in the past. She is a multi-business owner. She is such an inspirational entrepreneur. And today we talk about one of her new endeavors, which is a dating app. And it really stemmed out of her need in seeing this in her local community throughout entrepreneurs around the nation. And so this idea really truly came from that. And we dive into today starting the business of a dating app, what that has looked like, and why she went all in on this business. Let's get into today's episode.
I'm excited to be here with you today. And my journey, it started off with actually supportive parents, right? My parents always supported my entrepreneurial endeavors since I was a little girl. So I was the person that was always trying to come up with an idea with the family and I'm talking about like 9, 8, 10, 12. I'm trying to sit down and figure out how can I make money? I had a babysitting service. I sold lemonade. I sold candy at school. I sold bookmarks. I was always coming up with something. So it was innately in me since I was a little girl. I would say I got it from my grandmother, who was very entrepreneurial herself. She came to this country and, she bought real estate. And, I always admired and looked up to her, just seeing how fierce she was at such an she was 60 something when she got here. And to then start this new life for herself was just so amazing to me. So I got it from her. And since then, I've failed at lots of ventures and I've succeeded at tons of ventures. But I'm so excited to be in the place right now where I've figured out who my avatar is, who I wanted to serve. And I've been coming up with things to serve this group of people since then. And I think COVID was the changing point for me when I realized, what do you want to do? What's going to make you happy? I was in real estate for years. And, being in New York, you never think that the real estate game is going to stop. Right. And once that happened, I was like, man, I need to come up with something that I can do from home. Right. I got to find something that I can, I'm not stuck to an actual building or a place. I can do it from anywhere. And so sitting back and, all my friends from different walks of life, people were losing their jobs, or they had these positions that they were afraid that they were going to get a call any moment that their jobs were going to be taken away from them. So I asked them, I was like, hey, listen, everyone has different expertise. Can we put something together that we can allow other people to learn from what we're doing or learn from other opportunities? And since then, it's grown into a platform with over 200 business opportunities that people can find. And to me, that's pretty amazing, right? So it's not just for people that are making, that have $100,000 to spend on a business or 5 or 10. You can literally find anything, whether you're a white collar worker, blue collar worker, you can find something that can help you propel your life forward with freedom. So that's my background.
Wow, I love it. Very entrepreneurial. So you're a perfect fit for this show. So you've actually been on the show in the past speaking
Yes.
about your past business ventures, but I think you are creating something now that is
Mhm.
very interesting and unique. So can you please explain a little bit more, not only about the business concept, but also about where this idea came from?
Absolutely. So, I was a single girl for a very long time. And one thing I noticed, I was on a few different apps. I was always drawn to entrepreneurs. Even if they didn't have it in their bio, I would talk to them and I would find out that they're an entrepreneur and they're working on different projects. And I always say it wasn't about whether the person had this, they were at a certain tax bracket. It was really about the connection of just, they got me. They understood what I was about. They understood, my trials and tribulations. They got it when I couldn't make it out for a dinner or do something else that they wanted to do. And I think for me, that allowed me the space to feel at home and at peace. I say that because for a very long time, it was very hard for me to create balance in my life. I didn't know how to balance relationships with myself, relationship with others, and relationship with my business. And so bringing together the idea, the concept was just because I felt at home with this group of people. I felt at home with my tribe, right? And so the spirit of Yoke was formed, right? Like I built out Yoke from my experience and what I preferred. I felt like someone working, this is not to say anything about anyone working a traditional um, job, a traditional 9 to 5 or career. It's just something that suited my lifestyle. They got my lifestyle, and that was very important to me. And so we started to create, my partner and I, we started to create Yoke off of this idea in my head. And I wanted a way that it not only allowed people to come together for a relationship, but allowed people to hopefully create synergy and build upon the aspects of Yoke, which means build businesses together, create new things together, and bring forth new products and services to the world. That is really what we want to convey to people when we talk about Yoke. It's not just about the connection of relationship. It is, that's the soul base, but we're hoping that partners can come together and create other things together and support one another on their entrepreneurial journey. And, I live Yoke right now. That's what I'm doing now. I'm able to work on my projects, work on my venture at my partner's home now, and, vice versa when he comes to New York and sees me. It's such a beautiful, it's freedom, right? And your channel is about being free and empowering yourself through entrepreneurship, through the being able to not just stick in one space and do it, but go wherever you want to go and do it and be happy doing it. And so it's an exciting time for me. It's an exciting time for my team. We're all just rolling up our sleeves. We didn't realize how hard it was going to be, but it is what it is. And it's so much fun though. We're having so much fun with this project. My favorite thus far, my favorite.
Are you looking to become a diversified global citizen? If this is a lifestyle that you're seeking to create, we can help. Whether it be multiple residencies, citizenships, bank accounts, trusts, or company formations, we operate in 30 plus of the most tax-friendly jurisdictions around the globe to get you structured properly. Head to the link in the show notes to learn more and to get your global citizen journey underway today. Amazing. And I love how hard you work and everything that you do. So I'm curious what it looks like when you actually get into Yoke because it reminds me, and I really like this concept, kind of like where it started as Bumble, but now they have Bumble Business and Bumble BFF. And so is it segregated in the app or is it really built on partnerships and then potentially business partnerships if you
That's a
desire
great
from there?
question. That's a great question. So, unlike my counterparts, anyone can join Bumble. This is strictly primarily for entrepreneurs. So, when you step on the site, you know what time it is, you know your village, you know your tribe. Everyone's working on building something greater than themselves, right? So, it's not a site where, just any and everyone can join. It's specifically for the entrepreneurial community. And so, just starting off with that base, when you get on the platform, yes, you can create your business profile. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And then we also, clearly, your personal profile is on top of that, where you explain who you are, what you are, and why you're here, right? We're also a site, we're not here for hookups. We're here for serious relationships. We want people that um, are looking for partnership. They're looking for a high level commitment. And I want to say something that's extremely important. I mentioned it earlier about balance. I probably, if I would put my hand up and say I was probably the person, if you put in the book, a person that's not balanced, my face would show up, right? And with a lot of dating apps, you're swiping right, you're swiping left. We want to continually bring content to the people that we serve. When I say that, we want to have relationship coaches. We want to have marriage coaches. We want to have different types of people that you can connect with to help you through the process. Because oftentimes entrepreneurs don't know when to turn it off. We know when to turn it on because it's usually always on, but it's very hard for us to separate our work life from our personal life. And I think that does us a disservice. And hence that's another reason why I wanted to create this space, because I realized that sometimes you're just on a dating app. There is, if you're not mentally prepared for a relationship, it'll never thrive. I met wonderful guys. It wasn't going to work. I wasn't in the space. I wasn't in the mindset to give of myself. Right? I can still be busy and I can give of myself to my partner, and that's what I'm doing now. I have a healthy relationship. I have one that I feel supported and he feels supported, and we're taking, clearly to a higher level of commitment, sooner than later. Wink, wink, if you can hear me. So for me, I think it's so important that we create a platform that's not just swiping right, swiping left, but we want to empower people where they're able to get support. Clearly, with the experts tribe, I'm so used to having experts that I clearly wanted to do the same thing for this, having experts on board for people to tap into, taking classes and courses to help you balance, helping you manifest the life that you want with your partner, helping you build out the structure that can give you the foundation for a healthy relationship. So it's not, again, I don't want anyone to think it's just a swipe right, swipe left situation. No, we want to empower you so you can actually have a meaningful, long lasting relationship, right? I'm from New York, and the dating culture here is very unique to a lot of, I would say, any major city. Pretty much it probably runs around this about the same thing. And what I want to say is it's very hard to date. There's so many successful people. There's so many people that are driven, that it's like the cutoff to actually being serious with someone and settling into a relationship. It's hard. Like, I know successful, wonderful women, great personalities, that are single in their 40s, 50s, even in their 60s, right? That have never been married, no kids. And so again, Yoke, we want to create, we can't solve the problem for everyone, but if we can tap into this group and really provide them the armor to actually have a shot at a healthy relationship, we want to do that for sure.
What a unique concept. I absolutely love this and I love having this conversation with you. So, I want to talk to you about what it looks like in terms of the vetting process in order to get on the app. You said that not everyone can get on the app, which I really like. So, what does that vetting process look like?
So you have to have a business website, a business link, a business something. You can't sign up without that, right? So even if you have a LinkedIn profile, we will go back in and check to see if it's, you're just nothing wrong. Again, I don't want anyone beating me up. If you're just in a you just have a normal career, this just isn't the site for you. There's so many other platforms out there that are excellent, but you'd have to go in there with your business information in order to start either your business email, no Gmail. You have to do something that's related to your business.
Got it. Yeah, I like that. Is this going to be an app in the future as well? I assume it starts out as a website. Like, what do you
No,
have
this is going to
in the
be, we're
works
going to be in,
potentially?
no, we're going to be in the Apple Store, the Google Play Store. Yeah, we're going straight. So once after the launch stage, we're going into the stores. We're coming to a app near you. Yeah, we're excited. We're excited about that. As an entrepreneur, you think, you come up with these ideas and you're like, is this crazy? Like, is this nuts? And then we started testing it out and talking to entrepreneurs. We saw that there was a need. We saw that people actually wanted the product. So we're so excited to bring it to the market soon.
Building the actual business, do you have investors? Did you raise capital to start this? And then I'm also curious about the monetization process for yourself and the founding team.
I'm excited that you asked that question. So monetization, there's a few ways. So one, to join this app, unlike the apps that are free, there's actually a monthly fee. But the beautiful thing about this app is, unlike the other apps, if you refer someone, you will make money in perpetuity of that person being on the app. So we wanted you to also be able to monetize. So even on your platform, once we launch, you get the link, you want to share this with people, you will get paid for each person that you bring in. And I think that's so important. We're in a community where it's entrepreneurs. Let's all make money, right? Let's all be a part of this Yoke mission, this Yoke movement, right? And so That's something that we're very, very excited about. We also will have ads there. If people wanted to put up ads, we'll have that as well. So there are a few ways that we will be able to monetize. I'm not really sure. We to go back and forth if we're going to have a little fun stuff like coins and this and that. I don't really see value in those things, but if I can find a way where it makes sense in my head, um, then we'll add those to our monetization strategy. But for the most part, that's how we will start. And interestingly enough, one of the things that we did, we studied a lot of the successful apps, but we spent more time studying the ones that failed because there were a lot of good apps that should have made it and they didn't. And when the main thing we heard over and over and over again, they said, "Hey, we had this great idea, we had this great concept for this dating app, but we had no monetization strategy whatsoever." And so a lot of these apps fail because they're what they want to get the mass attention, but they didn't pay attention to where the money, right? It costs money to maintain these apps. Every person that signs up, every person that uses a video, everyone that uses a chat, it costs money. So if you didn't plan for that, then you won't succeed. And so yeah, that's the way that we're going about at this point in monetizing the app. I thought there was another question I might have skipped over. I'm not sure.
I was curious about raising
Oh
capital.
yes, I'm
Let's
sorry.
talk
Yes.
about that before we go
So
into the next question.
that actually came like that was me. I invested in myself. Like I believed in this product after we did some market research. I invested in me. But later on, I'm not opposed to investors. But thus far, it's been off. It's been it's come out from my dime.
Well, I love that you really believe in the mission and you see such a need there in your circle and your community. So, really diving into that, I'm curious what your market research process looked like, both on the individual level of those who would come to the app, and then also what you mentioned is very interesting to me that you studied apps that have been successful and dating apps that have failed. And so, I'm curious from both of those, the individual and the corporate aspect, what you really learned in the market research phase.
So only a like there's only a few successful dating apps that we are aware of. Now, every country might have apps that are familiar to their specific region. So we're not talking about that. But the ones that are global, they all started in very unique ways. I won't say who. I won't name names, but one company, pretty much started because they left another company, right? And, other companies, bought out smaller companies that ended up being relatively successful in various niche areas. And so I think what happened, especially as it pertains to one of you probably know who I'm referring to. So one of the earlier founders or early adapters of the dating app, they bought out numerous companies left, right, and center. So once they saw a level of success in those areas, they started to purchase these various dating apps. And there's one that's holding out and they've stayed strong and they've been able to grow and take off. But there's a handful of successful apps, and there are apps that I would say after the top 10 that the numbers do relatively well, right? These are apps that went from a few million upwards to 50, $100 million in revenue. As it pertains to the research that I did, it was relatively simple, and we still do it to this day. And it's something that I encourage people to do all the time. It's going to sound so simplistic, but it actually does work. You find your niche group, whoever you're serving, right? And what we do, and it's going to sound super simple, but we go to these various admins for Facebook groups and we talk to them. We actually have conversations with them and we say, "Hey, I am not trying to take over, disrespect to your group, but I'm working on a project. Do you think I can, if I send out a survey, would that be okay for me to post and let you know? Later on, we're going to have this monetization. We're going to have ability for you to be able to monetize. Can we come back to you then, and you can then promote? We won't even put our links up there. You can do it yourself." Most of the time they're just like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Let me see what it's about. Cool." And they allow us to get into the rooms of 50,000 members, 100,000 members. And I didn't pay a separate team to do this. This is literally me just going in and having a one-on-one conversation and getting them excited and getting them involved. And I'm able to send out these surveys. So before we even think about creating this concept, even though I feel like it's the best thing since sliced bread, we then go and test it out to see if if this is actually a viable thing that people are interested in. And so now we're going back to, we're doing the follow up, and we're going back to these groups and saying, hey, we're on the waiting list stage. Do you mind if we kind of do a little teaser? That's the phase that we're in. So we're in the pre-launch stage. We're talking to amazing people from various platforms and just getting the word out, pretty much guerrilla style, but I actually like it this way. And I noticed that to go back to your question, a lot of these successful companies in my research, this is how they started. It's only in the last few years that people started to get all these investors involved. But those earlier businesses, it was all of them rolled up their sleeves. They went on campuses, they went to friends, and it grew that way. But a lot of people are dumping in serious cash into these apps with no plan for monetization until way down the pipeline. And it's too late at that point, right? Because the one thing about dating apps, you have to get the people in the space right then, right now, right there and right now. And if you don't, and you don't have the money to keep it up, it just won't work. It just won't survive.
And one thing that I really like about this app concept, I think in the beginning, everyone loved all the traditional apps. What was that, like 5, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
But I feel like now it's difficult because a lot of people realize that they're downloading the app, and as part of the company, they want you to stay on the app. They don't really want you to reach that end goal that they promote. And so I think yours, it sounds like, is the opposite, where you do want
Opposite.
people to maybe not completely get off the app, because there is still an element of connecting for business and business partnerships and whatnot on there, but you really want them to get on the app and then get off the app.
Absolutely. We want people, to be honest, we want people to have long lasting relationships. And again, I think swiping right, swiping left, that's a part of it. You can meet someone, you like them. But again, if you're not ready for a relationship, if you're not ready to give of self, right? Just like for your business, you have to give of yourself to make the business thrive and work. It's not going to work. And so I think providing people the opportunity to, um, possibly work with other experts in the relationship area, I think that's going to be beneficial to them getting off the app and staying off the app. Right. And then the beautiful thing about us, like, okay, so you want everyone to get off the app? Yeah. But if you're a success story, what are you going to do? You're going to tell your friends, hey, I met this amazing man on there. I met this amazing woman, and they're getting paid, right? And so we'll never run out of people to serve, but we do want you to meet someone and leave. You know what I mean? And grow in that part of your life. So you're right. Yes, we do want you off.
Is this going to be mostly US based to start, or global? What is it going to look like?
We definitely want to be global. So clearly US, our neighbors in Canada, we love you. We want you here with us. But a beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, and I think I mentioned to you, we talked about that earlier. I also want for this to be the place where people start to be open to long distance dating. And I know it's not something that we all love to hear, but the guy for you may not be in your city. At least it wasn't for me. Like, he may not be in your city. You may have to be one of you may have to be open to moving and having this nomad sort of situation happen. But I think that's also important for people to realize as well. We're especially in New York. You want someone, if they're in another borough, you don't even want to go out with them. You're like, it's too far. You live where? You live in Queens? Not so much. I mean, that's how we operate oftentimes, right? And I realized as I started to move in my dating process, it was truly with people that were out of state. It wasn't with the guys in New York. It was nothing wrong with you guys in New York. You guys are awesome. But it was with people outside. So I think also having the ability to travel and move and move in that direction, it could be extremely helpful for possibly connecting with someone that may not be in your backyard. He may be, but he may not be in it. And you have to be okay with that possibility. So yes, we want to start off um, not just in the US, but we do want it to be a global platform. We're going to be adding languages every quarter. We'll be adding different languages and focusing on different target areas.
And I think the initial subscription too is a good way to filter out those who are serious versus can just download any free app and sign up.
Absolutely. We want you to be intentional. We want people that are like, hey, I want this. I'm looking for love. I'm looking for love, and I want it with someone that possibly could understand me and gets me, and I want to be the best version of myself to meet said person. So again, from the beginning, we're sending you emails. Hey, we're recommending people to you to help you with your journey, so you're not alone.
What an inspirational episode and very informative from a fellow entrepreneur. Lorene, thank you for being on the show. And if you're interested in learning more or signing up for the wait list for Yoke, they will open the app and the website, the entire platform, once they have enough participants on the wait list, which will likely be in the beginning of 2025. So sign up for the wait list to get your spot reserved. It is we met on yoke.system.io if you're looking to sign up for the waitlist. The links are also linked below. Thank you for joining us here in this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
You've just listened to the Worldwise Wealth podcast. Visit our links in the show notes below or at worldwisecapital.com to learn more about how we can assist in your borderless diversification journey. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.